Today we're going to be solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula in the form of x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Using the standard form ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so for our first example, we're going to use 2x squared minus 3x minus 5 equals 0. I'm just going to rewrite the formula again. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. My suggestion is whenever you are plugging in variables, to make sure that you make them become parentheses first. But before that, let's identify our A, B, and C. So this is going to be our A, this is our B, including the sign, and this is our C, including the sign. So let us begin. So this will now be equal to a negative parentheses plus or minus the square root of parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses all over 2 parentheses. This now is going to be a negative 3. This is a negative 3. This is a 2. And this is C, which is negative 5. And this is A, which is 2. I'm going to solve this here on this side. Negative times negative 3 is a positive 3 plus or minus the square root of negative 3 squared is a 9. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8 times negative 5 is positive 40 all over 4. This now will give us 3 plus or minus square root of 49 all over 4, and this will give us 2 roots. One is if you have 3 plus 7 all over 4. Let me real quickly explain where we got the positive 7 from. It is the square root of 49. So the square root of 49 is 7, and so I copied the 3 down. This is the sign that I have, positive 7 or plus 7 all over 4. And on here, I'm going to have 3 minus 7 all over 4. This will equal to 10 over 4 or 5 out of 2. This is our positive root. And on here, I'm going to have a negative 4 all over positive 4, which is a negative 1, which is my negative root. Therefore, my solution is negative 1, 5 out of 2. Example number 2 is b squared minus 4b plus 4 equals 0. Just for convenience purposes, I'm going to change all the b's into x. So x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 0. The 1 there is our a, negative 4 is our b, and positive 4 is our c. Let us write the formula. Negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then again, copy down the formula, but this time using parentheses in place of the variables. So negative parentheses plus or minus square root of parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses all over 2 parentheses. Now let's start plugging. This is your b, and so it's a negative 4 there, so I'm going to put a negative 4. This is b again, so negative 4 again. This is a, which is a 1. This is c, which is 4 right here, and this is a again, which is 1. So here, Negative times negative is, I'm going to do it here, positive 4 plus or minus square root of, this is 16, positive, because negative times negative is positive. This is negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 times positive 4 is negative 16 all over 2. This now is going to become 4 plus or minus square root of 0 all over 2, which will give us 4 plus 0, because the square root of 0 is 0, all over 2. And for this one, we will have 4 minus 0 all over 2. This is going to give us 4 out of 2, which is 2. And this will give us the same thing, 4 out of 2, or 2. Therefore, in this case, we only have one root. So our solution, or our root, is just 1, which is a 2. This means that if you graph your function, the vertex of your parabola is going to be at 2. Okay, so example number 3 looks like this. 4x squared plus 8x plus 7 equals 4 is not quite in standard form because this is not equal to 0. Therefore, the 4 has to move to the left side, which will become like this. 4x squared plus 8x plus 7 minus 4 equals 0. Therefore, this is going to be 4x squared plus 8x plus 3 equals 0. This is our A, this is our B, and this is our C. So now let's begin. Negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Again, we're going to change all the variables into a parentheses and then we will plug later. Parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses all over 2 parentheses. All right. This is a B, which is positive 8. This is B, which is also positive 8. This is A, which is a 4. And this is C, which is a 3. This is A, which is a 4. So now we are going to have negative times a positive. So that is going to be a negative 8. Parentheses is already gone. And that's going to be plus or minus square root of 8 times 8 is 64. Negative 4 times positive 4 is negative 16 times positive 3 is negative 48 all over 2 all over 8. Let's just put 8 here. Okay. All right. So this now becomes negative 8 plus or minus square root of 64 minus 48, I believe, is 16 all over 8. And so now this is going to give us, why don't I put it here? It's going to have negative 8 plus or minus 4, because square root of 16 is 4 all over 8. Therefore, I have two answers. I will have negative 8 plus a 4 all over 8, or I will have negative 8 minus 4 all over 8. So let's solve. This right here is going to become a negative 4 out of 8, which is a negative 1/2. Right here, I will have a negative 12 out of 8, which is a negative 3 out of 2. So, your parabola will touch the x-axis at negative 1/2 and negative 1.5. Your solutions are negative 3 out of 2, comma negative 1/2. Okay, so for our example number 4, I have 2x squared minus 36 equals x. Again, not in standard. So therefore, we need to move the x to the left side and make it into standard form. So this is going to look like 2x squared minus x minus 36 equals 0, where 2 is our a, negative 1 is our b, and negative 36 is our c. So let's do our quadratic formula again. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And again, let's copy the formula, but this time using parentheses. So negative parentheses plus or minus square root of parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses parentheses all over 2 parentheses. Now let's start plugging. This is going to be a negative 1. This is a negative 1 as well. This is a, which is here, which is 2. And this is negative 36. This right here is a 2. Negative times negative is positive 1. So plus or minus square root of 1. Negative 4 times positive 2 is negative 8 times negative 36, I believe, is a positive 288 all over 4. And this now is going to look like 1 plus or minus square root of 289 all over 4, which will give us two answers, which are 1 plus the square root of 289 is 17 all over 4, and the other one is 1 minus 17 all over 4. This is going to be 18 out of 4, which is going to be 9 out of 2. That is our first solution, or our first root. Our next root is going to be negative 16 out of positive 4, which is a negative 4. This is our next root. Therefore, our solutions, or our roots, are 9 out of 2, negative 4.